cookbook and what really inspired me was my grandmother. I'm a New Orleans boy, born and raised in New Orleans, and my grandmother, or Ma as we affectionately called her, Ma lived in Rayne, Louisiana, so outside of Lafayette in the middle of the swamps. She was a farmer's wife, gave birth to 6 kids and raised 5. Wonderful, incredible woman. And although incredibly, incredibly poor, financially, she was one of the richest people I'd ever met in my life. She was able to share with me and 26 of my first cousins her love and her passion for all of us and her life through her food. So it was one day when she actually was too sick to get to the grocery store to try and buy me a card. She attempted to draw her biscuit recipe for me. And so she tried to draw this recipe for me and had one of my aunts write a note in there to me from her. And that simple drawing and her cast iron skillet are my 2 most prized possessions. Burn my house down, as long as I have this drawing and I have her cast iron skillet, I'm good to go. So it's from that love and from that compassion that I began to cook and love food. It's not, we're in an age today that everything is competitive, competitive, competitive. I have to win, I have to be better than this person, be better than that person. I have to come up with weird ingredients and blow your mind. No, simplicity is the key, and cooking with passion and love. And I believe that that's what inspires people, it's what brings families together, it's what brings communities together. We all come around great food, and we've had some great food today. So, today we're going to do one of my mother's favorite recipes. We're going to do my mom's bread pudding. And the great thing about bread pudding is it's one of the most versatile desserts on the planet. As long as you have a good base, you can make an infinite number of flavors and types of bread pudding. So today we're going to do just a basic bread pudding, but remember that you can always turn around and add chocolate to it. You can soak raisins or craisins in either brandy or Jack Daniels, which is what I love to do. And you can make white chocolate bread pudding, chocolate bread pudding. You make it up, whatever you like. We're at the holidays. Put pumpkin in there and pumpkin spice in there. Make yourself a pumpkin bread pudding. So you can do all kinds of different things with this easy base. So what we did was we just took 2 simple French baguettes and we tore them up. The staler the bread, the better, as we all know, because it's going to soak up all that good stuff. The great thing about bread pudding is it's really, really forgiving. So it's not like baking pastry where you have to be exact and precise and everything else. Bread pudding is kind of by feeling what you like. So what I like to do is I like a bread pudding that's good and toasty on the top and good and rich on the bottom. So one of those things that we're going to do today is it's about 2 loaves of French bread, and we're going to call it 4 cups of milk, but we're just going to kind of guesstimate here. We're just going to dump some milk over the top. And for all you people that want to be healthy and stuff like that, bless your hearts. Whole milk, skim milk is a little too watery, so whole milk needs some fat in there, and we'll just go ahead and dump the rest of that in there. The other thing is, and we're going to improvise here, you're going to take 4 or 5 eggs, and we're just going to bang them on here and break them up. Since we don't have real bowls here, we're going to fake it. We're going to pull some shell out of here. Don't worry, you're not eating this one. This is going to Dr. Pam. So either she or Larry can deal with that. All right. So real simple. We've got 4 eggs in here, 5 eggs in here. Again, we're talking about really forgiving ingredients. And I'm going to wipe my hands off here. I'm going to go ahead and throw a little bit of brown sugar. You can use a couple of tablespoons if you want. You can use a little bit more than that. Again, we're going to talk about precise measurements. Not really. About 4 tablespoons, of cinnamon. And we're going to do about the same thing with vanilla. So we've got these great ingredients here. And then we're going to do about 2 cups of sugar. So there's about 1 and about 2. Thank you. We're just going to go ahead and mix this up in here. Now, meanwhile, the great part is the bread is sitting here and it's soaking up all that milk and all that yumminess. And we're just going to kind of make a little bit of a crunchy, nibbly topping here. It's going to go on top. So you see what we got going on here? Looks like a big old brown mess. It reminds me of making mud pies when I was a kid. I think that's why I like bread pudding, because you can really kind of be sloppy with it, and it's okay. I loved as a kid making bread pudding. So we can do this. If it looks a little too thick for you and you don't want it that way, you can always thin it out. So I'm going to thin it out. I'm really tempted to have a Julia Child moment. So we can do that right here. Now we've melted a half a stick of butter in a pan. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this bread that's been soaking up all this milk and everything else. And we've melted a half a stick of butter in here. And that's going to keep our bread from sticking. So we're just going to go ahead and start dumping all this in here. Again, see how precise all this is? We're really worried about precision. All right. So it doesn't look like much right now, but this is when it gets good. Ooh, yum. All right. So we've got our mixture here. And again, you're going to be using bowls and not disposable pans like I'm doing here. Alrighty. And we're just going to take this and we're going to dump this over the top. Now, how many of you have kids or grandkids at home and you like to have them in the kitchen with you? This is one of their favorite things to do, and it was mine as a kid without the jack. But if you want, you can let the kids sit here and kind of push everything together with their hands. But since we're going to try and be somewhat nice to Dr. Pam today, we're just going to do that with the utensil rather than my hands. But because it's Dr. Pam, I'm going to put a little bit more each side. She's off tomorrow. Now the easy part about this is you're going to throw it in the oven, 325 for 1 hour, and you're going to throw it in there in a water bath. So make sure you've got your water in the oven, in a pan, and you're going to drop this pan in there. If you don't, you will burn the bottom of this thing like nobody's business, and it's going to be dry as the day is long. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to throw this in a water bath and throw this in the oven. So that's the simplicity of a bread pudding. You've got something really, really easy, really fun that you can do. But let's talk about a few other things. Again, I was here 22 years in the nonprofit world,